Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chris, and this is an open discussion with C3 Films, and I'm with,
Cheryl, and
and
today we're gonna talk about this movie we watched called Keanu. And just so you know, spoiler alert: watch the movie first, then come back. Take it away, Chris.
let's get right into it. So this movie is 2016 film done by Key and Peele, Jordan Peele and Keegan Michael Key, and they're the stars of the movie, and they also had a are the reason this movie even exists in the first place. So like essentially like the movie's is like it's basically about these guys that have a cat and they're trying to get the cat back from a bunch of like gangsters. That's essentially the movie in a nutshell. Like
And everybody, like almost everybody, or at least all the key players in the film, for some reason, want possession of the cat. And like the whole time, I was like, is the cat Keanu a MacGuffin?
it's
A really
totally
weird MacGuffin.
it is totally the MacGuffin because in these movies, it's always that the heroes and the villains want the same thing. And that's exactly what it is in this movie. It is like the prime example of what a MacGuffin is. Everybody wants the cat, even when it doesn't necessarily make sense that they should want the cat. Like these hardened criminals want a cat. Why do they want this cat so much? Um, but the movie is ridiculous.
It's so like it's so like hardcore absurd that it's like it's so Key and Peele. I loved it. Like they're so funny. I think they're like incredible writers and actors, and like I can't get over Key's like facial expressions, and like the
Oh
his
gosh.
character Clarence is so funny because he's so flamboyant, like you would almost think that he's like kind of gay, but then
Hmm.
he's like married to this like hot lady and he has a
Nia Long.
family.
Yes, that's another thing. This movie has like a lot of like surprise actors that you wouldn't expect to see in this movie. Like I wasn't expecting to see Nia Long as Key's wife in this movie. I wasn't expecting to see Anna Faris in this movie. I wasn't expecting to see Method Man or Luis Guzman in this movie as well. And you see all these actors and you're just like, yo, they're having a good ass time. And then you even have Keanu Reeves lending his
His
voice
voice,
for one
Keanu.
scene for the cat named Keanu. And it is brilliant on so many levels because when I first heard about this movie called Keanu, I guess because in my mind I don't know anything or anyone else named Keanu, so I just thought it was a movie about Keanu Reeves. And so then when I eventually watch the movie and see that it's not and it's about a cat named Keanu, I'm like, so it has nothing to do with Keanu Reeves?
And the
Question
other
mark.
funny thing is like it's named the cat who like really has no real purpose in the movie is also the name of the movie, which is Keanu. So it's just funny, and like Keanu Reeves is also just like a cool guy who's just like, yeah, I'll do it. Like it's whatever. I don't need like the fame. I don't mind if you name a movie after me and I'm not even really in it and it's not even about me. That's so Keanu Reeves, right?
Oh, it's so great. And then like even his voice that he had in there for just like it was in there for like maybe 60 seconds was amazing because they're also playing the Matrix music from the movie. I'm watching it and I am a huge Matrix lover. It is like the first Matrix movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. And so the moment that I hear that music and then him say the line of where you go from there is a choice I leave to you. I am just like Key in that moment where I'm like, ah, the Matrix.
And the
We
other
like it.
lines are from his other movie,
Right?
right?
No, and tell me why this dude is sounded like he like freaking from Bill and Ted the way he's talking. It's amazing. It's only one part of the movie though, and we're like getting hung up on it, but that's because it's so good.
But it was part
Um,
of one of like the funniest scenes, which is like when Clarence accidentally takes a hint. I'm sorry, not a hint, a hit of the the new drug, and he like is tripping so hard, and he's like in the music video with George Michael, and
Michael.
like the references like in general for the movie were really funny with like the whole George Michael thing. George Michael is a big part of this movie, bigger than Keanu Reeves. And it's
Yes.
like hilarious, like it's just so perfect for like describing and shaping the character for Clarence. And like there was like a he said something, there was like a reference to Wham that was really funny.
I didn't know about it. My roommate had to explain that to me.
Oh.
So in that scene, he's explaining like I don't know the guy's name, Rudy or something. I can't remember the guy's name that was with George Michael or whatever, but
One of the guys in the van.
yeah, because yeah, here because he's explaining it to these like hardcore gangsters, and he's saying to them that, oh yeah, George Michael, he's the real OG because blah blah blah, he's this and he's that, and then all of a sudden, wham,
Wham!
no one ever saw him again.
That was like one of the funniest moments of the movie to me because I was just that's just so that was good.
It it's
That
really
was real good.
clever, and I was laughing because it would have gone over my head if my roommate wasn't there to explain to me why that reference was funny. And so, because I just don't know that much about George Michael or any of his history. I even had to ask if he was dead or not because
I
I
was that's
just
funny. I was telling my boyfriend, I was watching with my boyfriend. I was like, I'm pretty sure that George Michael passed away a couple of years ago, and he was like, "No." Cuz like we both really like George Michael.
Oh no.
So,
Well, and unless at the very least it made the movie more interesting for you then. And yeah, and so and like just to talk about that moment where he accidentally takes a hit of like the hardcore drug, it's so great because Key and Peele have such a good chemistry with each other. And that's what thing that worked on their show and it works for this movie. And so they're messing with each other throughout the entirety of this. And like there are these moments where I'm thinking to myself, if you were my friend right now, the moment we get out of this, I'm punching you in the throat at least one good time. So when Key is like, because they're in that moment where at least for Peel, he's seen some people get murdered. Like he's seen people get shot. So he is thinking we are with some crazy hood people and they are going to kill us. We have to get out of here. But the funny thing about it is that because Key's having a good time because they like him and he's being able to actually cut loose and live the way that he lives.
it's like
And
really
so
working out for him.
yeah, he's having a great time. So when this dude Stitches, his name is Stitches, and he has like tattoos of stitches over his body, and just and says things like "yeah," like like growls at people and stuff. Comes with like a hit of a joint, and then freaking Peel is like, "Oh, okay, yeah." He takes it. He's like, "You want this?" And he's like, "Nah, man,
No.
I like
I'm
prefer
good.
a pipe." And then someone shows up and is like, "Oh, you want a pipe? I got one." Yo, bro, you in the wrong
Right.
place. And so he takes the hit because he wants to like show himself as being cool or whatever. And then he tries to offer it to the hardcore drug dealer, and the hardcore drug dealer says, "No, sorry, I don't mess with that stuff."
That's too much. But we get the best scene out of that, so
Right? So like we'll take it. And I I this is not lost on me, especially this movie was made in 2016. So this is going that's important because I find it very ironic that the movie is essentially about main characters going ham over the fact that a cat is stolen and that cat is named Keanu, and Keanu Reeves is the same man who starred in a movie called John Wick, which was about a man that was going ham over people that killed his dog.
nice connection there.
the, the moment I realized that, I was like, I love this movie even more now.
That's
It's amazing.
good.
it's,
It was
it's perfect.
it was a pretty entertaining movie. I think I just really like the storyline, especially for Clarence. Especially like the whole thing about like how he got them to like, well, first he did the icebreaker. When he started doing that icebreaker with these like
Thanks.
drug dealers, I was like, this is so funny. Like if you look at, like if you were just reading the script, it sounds so normal, but then
Right.
like but he's like acting it and like, talking black, and like and it's just like, okay, this is
We
yeah.
can't even talk about we can't even talk about this movie because we're still remembering things that made
It
us
was so
laugh.
funny, and like, and then it just comes full circle to the end. Like, I mean, there was the van scene, and then like right at the end, he like they're like having a gunfight, and he was like,
I got you.
"They're
They're
communicating."
communicate. And Jordan Peele is just like, that's great.
Yeah, he's just like, okay, like we could die right now, and you're so happy over this, like that the drug dealers who like literally just threatened to kill us on more than one occasion, you're happy that they're communicating with each other.
But see, but it's like there's so much to this movie. Like there are little, sorry, there are little moments too. Because one of the guys during those icebreakers, he talks about how he's called Trunk or Trunks or whatever. I think it's Trunk. I think it's
It's
Trunk.
shrunk.
But he's like, they call me Trunk. Why? Because I once lost my keys in a trunk. There was a dead body in there too. Oh well, it's better than we call him dead body. And then literally that gag comes back later when these guys are standing outside of a car and they open the trunk and there's the body of the drug dealer
The
that's in the
neighbor.
yeah, the neighbor that's in the trunk of the car. They close the trunk and this dude trunk like leans out and says, "Make sure you got your keys."
So this like that is really clever. Like the jokes are like they're good jokes. And like the movie doesn't make sense. Like it makes sense because like, it got us from point A to point B, but like, and there's no way that anyone would ever like put themselves through all this for a cat that he found and had for 2 weeks. So
It was only 2 weeks. That's the thing to remember. It was not a year. It
yeah,
wasn't 2 years. It
they
was
bonded for
two
2 weeks.
weeks. It was not even a month. A calendar month had not passed. Oh gosh. Yeah, the movie like it starts it's trying to like at first show itself as being like this kind of like real like real life people and stuff like that, but then they put him in unrealistic situations.
Mhm.
The fact that this dude was able to do a backflip on his first try without ever doing a backflip before in his life is a little bit that's the thing I find to be the most incredible. Even more
The
incredible.
backflip. I knew.
Yes,
So the funny thing is, like, I knew it was gonna come back because in the very first scene,
I'll
the
backflip
Andytown
tomorrow.
guys, they
Oh yeah.
backflipped like 3 times, and they did it in slow motion like the whole time. So I was like, why are they
Mhm.
backflipping so much? It's so like weird. And then it just like comes up to the very end of the movie. Like, but I guess
Yes.
that's the thing is like there's a lot of setup where like they they spend the beginning of the movie defining the characters with these little like inside jokes that they keep bringing back throughout the movie, and like everything is just tied up pretty neatly at the end with all these like jokes that they had, and that was pretty. It just
Yeah.
felt good to have that tied up.
No, absolutely. And like, cause even that thing, like when they after Key does a backflip, they say we want to see Peel, we want to see you do a backflip too. And he says, I'll backflip tomorrow. And literally in the course of the movie, a day passes, and the next day he does a backflip. And so, like, the movie is very self-aware of these little things that they're setting up, and it's better for it. It makes it tight. And one of the things that I was writing, like I wrote down in my notes while I was watching this movie, is that the structure of this film feels like a romantic comedy, and the where it almost feels like the love interest is Keanu. That's the love interest that he just has to like capture or get to by the end of the movie. But in between, you still have all these other like moments that almost kind of act like similar like love interest moments where you have like these gangsters who fall in love with who these two guys are, and then everything is good, they're getting along and everything feels nice until the inevitable exposure has to happen where the betrayal comes and like the lovers break up. In this case, like the gangsters and Key and Peele, they break up and they feel hurt, they lied to one of these dudes is like legit crying, one other guy is like, hey, is George Michael like really actually an OG? And the other guy's like, he probably had his father too. And so that's the breakup moment. But then they come back together by the end of the movie, especially when you see them like
All in
after
jail.
all in jail together, and they're rolling together. So it's really interesting to me how when I was looking at it and saw that, to me, I kind of was able to read that structure of a romantic comedy in this film, and it feels like that structure works very well in it. I mean, there's still violence, there's still blood. People get shot, people die, except Louis, unless you're Luis Guzman, then you have to get killed like 3 times for whatever reason. But like for the most part, people catch it in this movie pretty bad, especially with the Terminators who are just Jordan Peele and Keegan Michael Key in makeup. But those dudes are scary apparently because they can take like 50 shots to the body and still get up.
I thought they were gonna get up again.
They do. There's an after credit sequence. Did you see it?
No, I missed it.
Yeah,
Uh
after the whole credits, go back and watch it.
oh. Oops.
They're not dead.
Uh oh. I usually watch the after credits, but then I think I was just tired or something. Like it's like one of the rare occasions when I didn't wait.
You would
Oh
not have been
man,
disappointed.
I was right then. I had a
Yep.
feeling that they were like, I was like, there's no way they would just like die.
They
They're
are Terminators. They are Terminators with no dialogue that apparently love this cat.
right. I was like, why do they want the cat too? Like, this is just ridiculous that these two
You
guys also want the cat that bad.
right? Everybody wants the MacGuffin. Everybody wants it. Um, the Anna Faris scene, though, I want to mention that that thing had me like dying. But also, there was this moment that was like, ooh, that felt a little too real. Because like the one of the gangsters, she doesn't know who Anna Faris is. And, Peel, he's sitting there chilling and he's looking at her, he says, I loved you in this movie. And gangster chick's like, oh, High C is her name. High C's like, you know who this is? And he says, yeah, she was in this, that, and the other. And Myra didn't know, my roommate, she didn't know didn't remember who she was. I said she was in Scary Movie. And right after I said that, Anna Faris says, yeah, I was in Scary Movie 1, 2, 3, or 4. And then says, but not in 5, too old. And I felt icky. I was like, ooh, that didn't feel like a joke. That didn't feel like that didn't feel like a joke. That
Right.
felt a little too real.
Uh,
Like, ooh.
that's funny. I only remember her from being in Friends. And she didn't even have that big. Yeah, I know. That's exactly the same reaction that my boyfriend had. He was like, she was. Yeah,
She was in Friends.
she
Okay.
was the birth mother of Chandler and Monica's adopted babies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they had like a relationship, so
Wow.
she was in more than one episode, so
Yeah, it was like she was a
yeah.
recurring character.
Yep. I don't know why I remember that and like nothing else, but
I
I've
mean,
I've
apparently
seen
you
her
watch
in
a lot of
things, but
Friends.
that's true. I do watch a lot of Friends.
Oh man. But yeah, and just the progression of the story in general was just really good as far as how we got from point A to point B. Even the fact that Keanu gets stolen is because people break into Peele's house thinking it's his drug dealer neighbor. And that's the whole reason that that even happens in the first place, which just sets this whole thing on this path. And the fact that the other coincidence is that everybody knows who this cat is. So at the end of the movie, when you have Method Man's character who wants to keep the cat, as he named him New Jack, then you have Luis Guzman's like, oh, that's Iglesias. That's my cat. And then they're like, no, that's Keanu. So everybody now, like, everybody wants this cat. Everybody's got a name for this cat. This cat is just like, this cat gets around. But the only one the cat is loyal to, though, is Jordan Peele. That cat saved his life on more than one occasion. And like in that kitty power moment at the end where that kitty is on that hood and then just jumps and leaps at Luis Guzman's face, I was like, that's right. Kitty power. Let's go. Let's get him.
Well, if you
Get
think
off my
about
master.
if you think about the cat and the cat's age, you would think that he spent most of his life, the 2 weeks, with Peele's character, so that kind of makes sense. Although
True.
he, although at the end, for some reason, they said that the cat had like a rare disease where he's like a kitten
He's
forever.
gonna be a kitten forever.
And I was like, what was the point of that?
Yeah, I didn't get that either. I like my roommate was saying that she thought that they were gonna say that Keanu's a girl. And that, that's what she thought. She was gonna like, you thought it was a guy the entire time, but it's actually a girl, which that in itself would be like, how why would you think that? How would you think make that mistake? But she thought it was gonna be something like that, not this kind of throwaway line of he's gonna be a kitten forever. It's like, "Mm, is Keanu actually gonna be a kitten forever? I'm pretty sure it's not. So that's a joke, but it just feels like a weird joke.
Maybe it
So
was
that
just easier to like for filming to just keep using kittens and not have to like be like, oh, it needs to be a little bit older now. Oh, it needs to be a little bit older now.
maybe, yeah, I'm sure the actual cat of Keanu was probably like 5 different cats.
Continuity
Mhm.
fix.
Well, there's there's one other part of the movie that I figured that you would like, and I'm surprised that you actually haven't brought it up yet.
Uh oh, did I miss something?
Yes, you did. High C, by the end of the movie, what color highlights did she have in her
Oh
hair?
yeah, she had purple hair. I did not miss that. I just I don't know. It's part of life, you know. So I'm just like.
I'm pretty sure she had purple fingernails too. I think she had purple fingernails and purple highlights on her braids.
I noticed the hair. I didn't notice her nails though.
Yeah, I couldn't help it because I knew we obviously are watching this movie for us to talk about, and I knew who I'd be talking to. So I'm like hyper aware and hypersensitive of anything purple that is around me when I know that at some point Cheryl's gonna be involved. So
I do have
I
that effect on people.
So I honed in and I zeroed in on that purple, and I was just like, there is no way Cheryl's not gonna bring this up. And I wrote it down in my notes. Like I have a bunch of like detailed notes, like that are full sentences. The literal last note that I have for this movie is 2 words: purple hair. And that's all I needed.
I don't know. I just thought there were a lot of other important things to talk about. I didn't want to spend exactly this amount of time that we've spent talking about it.
Oh gosh, but I mean, either way, at the end of the day, I really enjoyed this movie. This movie is a lot of fun. I would recommend it to people. So if you haven't watched it, what are you doing watching us? Go watch that movie and then come back and watch us. But at this point, you're already done through most of the video. So finish watching us first and then go watch the movie. Point is, movie's great. I loved it. Um, like, did you have anything else that you want to bring up about the movie, Cheryl?
I mean, I really appreciated the casting. I thought it was awesome. Again with the diversity that's really important to us, and I just, you know, it was just really funny and entertaining. I had a good time watching it.
Yeah. Oh, I do will bring. I will say that I enjoyed how they played on various stereotypes, like the expected stereotypes of how you think certain groups of people would behave. And you have these 2 men who are both brown men, but they are nerds and they are not the stereotypical idea of what you would think a brown man would be. And they themselves try to portray an image of what they think a brown person in these situations would act like when the people that they're interacting with also are not interacting with them on that same level. There are certain similarities, but you can see that the way they are like portraying this image is so is so satirized and so ridiculous that even though they're talking to other people who are literal gangsters, these people who are literal gangsters look far less ridiculous in comparison and seem to be almost Rhodes scholars in comparison to like how Key and Peele decide that they need to act to blend in this environment. So I thought that that was a very clever take and a clever way of like just bringing that up without like making it a big deal.
It definitely didn't go unnoticed. I picked up on that too, and it was actually one of the things that I thought was really funny because I was like, oh, like Key and Peele, they're just like normal dudes. That's how I saw them, just normal dudes. And then they go to the bar, and all of a sudden they're like different, and they're like so out of place because of the environment that we usually see in like
Hmm.
white people movies.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, now it just looks weird, and it didn't go unnoticed, and I thought it was a good um like realize this kind of thing in a funny way that they could present to more viewers, I guess, because again, we don't get to see this kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah, and I think another thing that just stood out to me because of that was that like I've been in those like similar situations where I talk and I behave a certain way that I'm comfortable with on the regular, and people that know me know how I can be. But when I was growing up, if I found myself in a situation that could be, I guess, for lack of a better term, considered to be a more hood area or hood situation, I would also do the that code switching of I should talk a little differently because this is how the people around me, like, this is how they talk, right? This is how they would be more comfortable with me, and therefore I'd be more comfortable with them. When in actuality, sometimes it might be true, sometimes it might not be true. So I just like I appreciated that fish out of water like storytelling, and also the satirization of that mentality and that expectation that even we within our own community can have for other people that share that community with us. So it's really cool.
In a pastel sweater.
in a in a turquoise hoodie. I was like, yo, yeah, y'all hood all right. I see you. I see you out there in your green hoodie, your
In your
turquoise,
minivan.
and your minivan. You know, that's right. Because you want to get pulled over, then why don't you like drive some like type of flashy vehicle? But if you never want to get pulled over again in your life, get a family van,
A soccer mom
a
van.
soccer mom. Yo,
Watch the movie. It's
yes,
good. You guys
go.
are gonna love it.
It's great. We already spoiled a lot of the jokes here,
Yeah.
but there's still more. We love these movies, but there's nothing else for us to say. Just like Cheryl said, go watch it, and we're gonna cut it there. But thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked what you've seen, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and let us know in the comments like if you've seen the movie, what you thought about it. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it. Come back to the comments and let us know what you think. If you thought it was funny too, if there's anything else that we missed, what were some of your favorite jokes? But even if you don't know, I have been Chris, and this has been
Cheryl, and we'll see you next time.